Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, welcome to a mini episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's sailing the seas with me tonight?
Hey everybody, it's Kenneth Sanity, ready to set sail on the blue seas of the Caribbean again.
Hey, it's Dominic. I'm here for another Assassin's Creed episode, taking a break from all that Kingdom Hearts stuff.
And this is Richard Sampson from the YouTube channel Rich Kale, delving back into the Assassin's Creed series and reinforcing that slavery is wrong.
Yeah, that comes up a lot in this topic, actually, more than I realized. So we are here to talk about a DLC, but also a standalone adventure, Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, which developed by Ubisoft Quebec and came out in 2013.
Is it the only DLC in existence to also kind of be its own game?
I think it is, actually.
Yeah.
It's like it got kind of promoted, but like not fully, but kind of.
It used to be called Assassin's Creed 4's Freedom Cry, but then they changed it to just Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry at some point.
Yeah, I bought it back when it was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Freedom Cry.
I mean, I have it as DLC for 4 on my PS3, so...
Yeah, I opened it up through Black Flag as well to play it.
I actually played the standalone version this time.
Yeah, I saw that's available on Steam.
That's how I got it. Well, I had it on Ubisoft a long time ago, back when I beat 4 for the first time. It's like 7 years ago or so. I had a PC. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this on PC. So I bought it in some sale, not realizing that it was a Ubisoft code, and so I've been sitting on it, waiting for a reason to finally play it for 7 years.
All that waiting for 3 to 5 hours.
Yeah, that's fine. My thing said 10 hours, but that's because I had a lot of idle time.
You know, you leave it, you take a break, go to the bathroom, you make food, you know.
Something like that, yes.
I had a lot of time available to, pull through it in pretty much just a few days. Amazing how quick it went.
Well, yeah, it's a quick experience. So I usually start out with memories. That's mine. Is just I bought it, never got around to it. Ken.
Gosh, I bought this for DLC when it came out. I bought the PlayStation 4 day one, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag was one of the first games I purchased for it. So I had to just go nuts and get the DLC. And yeah, I played it way back when and revisited it this past week.
Okay, Dominic.
This was a game that I played at the beginning of 2020, before the dark times. You know, that whole experience is just kind of wrapped up as like, oh yeah, Black Flag. And then there was a couple other things. There was the Aveline DLC as well. You know.
Oh, you mean the Liberation?
No, there was for PS3, I think for only Sony stuff, there was like a specific Aveline little episode.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that on the screen, but I didn't delve into it.
Yeah, you're just kind of helping her out, doing stuff for like an hour.
Oh, that's cool. That was a thing back then. They would do like had those system unique missions, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I just bought Watch Dogs for PS3, and it says 60 minutes of extra gameplay on the cover, and I'm like, sure, that's 3 missions.
Hey, and Watch Dogs actually connects to Assassin's Creed 4. So hey.
Yes, it does.
I do like that. And Richard.
Oh, this is my first time playing it.
So I knew a little bit about this. Essentially, and you play as who was your first mate? God, I'm going to pronounce this guy's name wrong. Adelaide or
Adewale.
Adewale.
Yes.
Okay. You play as him, but now he's an assassin. Where in the main game he never really got the assassin. After a year being a pirate, he went on to do this.
After Kenway disappeared, Adewale kind of took his place in a way.
Kenway goes to France, right?
Yeah, Adewale goes back to his daughter or something.
Okay.
Or he meets his daughter, they go back to Europe or something like that.
Yeah.
I played it. It wasn't that long ago, but I don't remember it.
It was a very nice ending for that game.
Yeah.
This is like a huge nexus point for this whole experience, like surprisingly. This idea that Europe exists and the Kenways go back to Europe and France and England are a thing.
That's why I look forward to more. I mean, that's one reason why this is here, because I know this is going to connect to the other Assassin's Creed we'll be talking about in a couple months, or a month, or whatever that is.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one reason why I finally decided to play this. Because I know originally this was part of the season pass thing, like how you guys would have played it on PS4, or why it was there. Like it just kind of came with 4. And so you're in the same map, aren't you? Like, because you're in the West Indies. Is that the same? Isn't that the same area we were in?
It's like just off to the right, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's one of those
It's-
situations.
Kind of the same area.
Okay, because I know I wasn't in the Bahamas. I wasn't in the cities that I'd recognized, but I looked up where the West Indies were, and I'm like, this is close to where we were in the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's close, but like some of it was kind of there, but most of it's kind of new. But it's all very small time, even still. Like clearly they worked on it. Like they definitely developed the ideas for this. But you kind of wonder, like, was this like how much extra time did they put into this? I wonder.
Hard to
Based
say.
on the bugs I found, not enough.
Ubisoft games having bugs in this time? Wild.
Ugh.
Mine had a few bugs too. I think I had a couple things where I had to restart it or something weird happened.
Was it mostly just like characters not appearing when you needed them to, kind of things?
No, mine were like just not performing well in fights.
Mm.
Like I had a lot of fighting bugs in which characters were just glitching and out of existence mid-fight.
Oh, I had it happen to me too. I had a guy go through the ground and disappear.
I didn't have any of that. But you guys playing on PC then?
I didn't.
No, I was playing on PS5.
Okay.
I was on PC.
Yeah.
And you were playing the standalone one, right?
Yes.
Okay. I know I was playing the one that was with Assassin's Creed 4.
I was too. I was playing the PS3 version, which you think would be the buggiest of all, but
Interestingly enough, when this came out, this actually got lower ratings on everything but Xbox.
Yeah.
Like Xbox was the highest rated one. So
yeah, the one specifically, not the 360 version.
yeah. So
Yeah. I was just re-looking at the map from Black Flag and trying to compare it to the one for
For
that.
this thing. You only
Yeah.
have one city really in this. What, God, was it
Port-au-Prince.
Port Royal?
Port-au-Prince.
Port-au-Prince.
Port-au-Prince. What country is that
Port-au-Prince.
even from?
Haiti.
The West.
Haiti.
Oh, no, 80. Yeah.
Okay.
See, most of Black Flag sort of centered around Cuba, the Cuba area.
Yeah, this one doesn't have a whole lot. I mean, I guess, it's just supposed to be DLC. It does suffer for something that I do not like DLC for, but this is a me problem, where this game felt really hard at first.
Oh, that I have the opposite problem where generally DLC feels kind of easy. Well,
Considering how
not to brag, but like in the sense of like they don't know where you are and they can't really expect you to like be at the top of your game, so they kind of have to level it off for that reason.
No, that's fair. It just felt... I've always had that issue with DLC, because I always play DLC usually way after I played a game,
Mm-hmm.
and the DLC expects you to be like, okay, you've been playing the game for a while, so you know how to play, where I'm always like, I don't really know how to play, so I don't remember.
Yeah, he plays the DLC after it unless it's integrated into the game.
So, and again, that's a me problem, so I can't... But it took like a little bit for me to get the hang of this game, like to remember how to play.
I mean, it's mostly the same as Assassin's Creed generally is now at this point.
Yes.
Which is, still fair to say that Assassin's Creed controls do change a lot.
They do.
I think 4 was I think that might have been Revelations where they actually changed they went away from the whole puppet idea finally, and they was like, yeah, X is just talk to people.
I just struggled a lot with it at first. I don't really have a good explanation to what it was, but I was having trouble. Like, I forgot which enemies you can counter, which enemies you can't counter, like which ones you have, like how to kill people. I had forgotten just everything. It was a little weird because the game, expects you to know, so it doesn't have a tutorial saying this is how you do this is how you do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Games like
And that probably stems from how many games have you played between Black Flag and this?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's
so,
why it's a me problem.
Yeah, and I mean, look, for me, I'm just, as I've been recording stuff, I cycle through them, and every once in a while, I'm playing an Assassin's Creed game. So it sort of stays fresher in my mind.
Yeah, kind of the same.
Like when we got in the boats, I forgot how to shoot the cannons at first. I was like, wait, I know how to do this. What am I doing wrong?
There should,
Well,
there should be like a guideline somewhere in the game.
I'm sure there was if I would have
Something
looked
they
for
should
it.
have kept. Well, at least it's more uniform between 4 and this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very much like 4. I was just really struggling with how to do things for, it didn't last long. I mean, there was one mission where I died 3 times before I said, fuck this, and just walked away. It was an optional. I was trying to take out one of the plantations.
Oh, those were fun.
They were fun, but
They can be, but they can also be pains in the asses.
there was one of them I just could not get it to, I just kept getting killed. And I shoot it 3 times where I said, why am I doing this? And then I just walked away and went and beat the game.
Interesting.
I was having that problem with it was a mission where you had 5 different optional missions to complete, and you only needed to complete 3 of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the tailing mission that I was really struggling with.
Oh, I had trouble with that one too.
Yeah,
This game really like that.
I fucking hate tailing missions so much.
Me too.
They
Oh
depend
my
game to
God.
game sometimes, but they've gotten better than they were originally, at least.
Yeah,
I mean,
this one had a lot of eavesdropping too, and I don't like eavesdropping either.
well, that goes with the tail. That does in part go with some of the tailing eavesdropping because that's what I had to do with some of them.
Yeah,
just
and there
was
was
like the
they were
hard
annoying.
one was trying to find a damn hiding spot before they spot you.
It didn't feel as tested and perfected as it does in the as it does in Assassin's Creed 4. This felt like it was missing something.
I mean, that checks out generally.
Because DLC, and
Yeah.
they're already working on other things.
I would imagine that maybe some of the DLC is also kind of like ideas that were kind of cast aside from the main game,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
like freeing people from prison or freeing people from like that hole that's just in the ground.
Hole in the ground.
I'm not sure what he means by that. I mean, I know there's the cells and
Like there's
Yeah.
the upright prisons, but then there's times where you you can just get people. There's like 1 or 2 of them generally. It's like also a prison, but it's in the ground or
I
something.
mean the wells?
The wells, yes.
There's people inside the wells?
I don't remember.
I never went inside a well. I tried and I failed and got caught and then fought.
It's like they're working or something. I'm struggling to remember exactly.
Oh, I never went down one.
The
So
only time I saw them come out of a hole was on the slave ships.
Maybe it's not a whole. Maybe they're kind of misremembering this now. Maybe, but I just remember there's a certain repeatable thing where you can free like 1 or 2 slaves versus like
when they're being like tortured, they're on
Yes.
like the ground. They're not in a hole,
They're
but they're on the
being punished.
ground.
Yeah,
yes.
sort of kneeled on the ground or up against a wall. You gotta stop
Well,
them from being.
yeah, there's those, but I thought there was also like a thing where they were like kind of being held prisoner and tortured. But maybe that's a very specific one that I'm remembering. I don't know.
Maybe it's
I
a
don't know.
specific location, or maybe it's part of some of the plantations.
No, it's definitely in the main city.
Yeah, I just saw some of them after when I restarted the game. Re-put the game in to get a reminder of the story part of it.
No, it's not a very long story. The whole idea is you're on a ship, you are chasing after a Templars or something because you have something of theirs, and then your ship crashes and you end up on this island, and then you get another ship shortly after. I don't know how you get a second ship.
I
You
think
steal it.
Oh,
No, I think it's
That makes sense.
rewarded for helping. What's her name? No, I can't.
Genevieve. But I think Ken's right. You just steal it from somebody.
I
Yeah,
swear there was a mission where you like cut off a flag and you got to sneak up in it in a harbor and
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think Ken's right.
And I love the name of the ship now that I looked up the name.
What was it?
Experto Crede, or Latin for trust the expert.
Oh, okay. I beat this game in 2 days. I barely remember it. It was fun, but one thing that was my issue right away, because when you first start off in the town, you have tons of side missions you can do, and you're not supposed to. You're supposed to go do your thing. I couldn't help myself and kept rescuing people over and
Yes.
over again and kept dying.
I didn't do that. I wonder if there's a difficulty difference when it's standalone versus DLC.
Couldn't be. I think
I
it's
mean,
just
when you're starting out in the game, yeah, it's going to be difficult. But when you get all the stuff, and it's like, hey,
it was still hard for me. Even when I had everything, I still had issues. But again, I feel like it was more me than the game.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and they just pop up like that.
It just didn't feel as well balanced. Hiding spots didn't feel like, especially for like all the tailing missions that we're talking about and the eavesdropping, like there was something about it that just was missing, like a lack of missing a round of polish. Which again, we kind of mentioned, like, they're working on other stuff, which I'm not complaining, but it just felt off.
Yeah, I mean, this game is basically, from what I'm looking at here, and from also from having looked at it recently, it's 9 missions.
Yes, not long.
But there's plenty to do, if you want to keep just freeing people and kind of just racking up the tally.
yeah, I had to keep going because there were too many ships in the sea and not on my watch, baby.
And you get a lot of points and stuff for freeing more people.
Uh-huh.
Man. Yeah, I got the trophy for I think freeing 500.
Oh, I
I
did
think
that.
at the end when I was tired of doing it, I think I had like almost 700 slaves freed.
Hell yeah.
Oh, damn.
I fought a lot on the ocean.
I didn't do much on the ocean. I stopped one slave ship when the game, one by option and then one that the game made me do, I think. And that was it. I didn't do a lot. I did sail all the question marks, But I didn't do any like the harpooning like that. It has one or two harpoon spots. I didn't mess with it in this game, or
What?
I didn't go.
It's so fun.
I
Did you
didn't
do
like it in the main
the
game either.
Did you do the diving mission?
No, I didn't mess with it.
Oh, you get a little Easter egg.
Yeah, you didn't get
Yeah.
it.
Oh, what
I
was
did
it?
that.
You get the jackdaw's front
Figurehead.
decoration. Figurehead, yeah.
Well, it's
That's
also the
cute.
wreckage, isn't it?
Yeah. It
This
is the
game-
wreckage of the jackdaw.
And this is supposed to be set 13 years after the events of Black Flag.
Yeah, so that would be Adwale is then becoming an assassin for himself, and this is leading up to 3, and then Rogue is going to happen soon.
Yeah, Rogue happens. From what I can figure, is set. But Rogue happens between. Let's see.
4 and 3.
Yeah, between
No.
4 and 3, isn't it? Or is it?
It's definitely
Rogue is-
it's between 4 and the back half of 3.
Yeah,
It's where the timeline starts to get real weird. Because
what they said.
Rogue and Unity are pretty close to each other.
Oh, I mean, they lead. I mean, I can spoil it for you if they want, but
I know, but
they lead into
I've
each
never
other.
played past Rogue.
yeah.
I've already gone through Rogue in preparation for the upcoming episode.
Like they are very well connected.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why one reason why I wanted to do this finally. And like I said, I've been sitting on this for 7 years. I figured it's about damn time I played it. I enjoyed rescuing the slaves, but God, did it remind me how terrible humans are. Like I know history. I'm a history buff, but I forget stuff. And like when there's one mission when you have to go to you're trying to rescue it, and then they shoot it down. You have to go and you of course some do die, but
Oh,
God, I'm like, this was
yeah.
real. Like,
That
this
was
happened
a
multiple
rough
times.
mission.
That was a rough one.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of one of those things. Is as you're going through it, I got the feeling that both sides, both the Templars and the Assassins, don't necessarily like slavery. And I guess for the time period and all that, they viewed it. I think the Templars were like, we don't like it, but we have to utilize it for the time being.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the Templars, because you look at like Assassin's Creed Liberation, where they're taking slaves in Mexico and using them to, dig up stuff. So I think it really just depends on them.
I mean, the Assassins and the Templars have their creeds and ideals, but it also depends on the individuals that the story is kind of highlighting too.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to say that, they're on two sides of the conflict, but it's really more muddy and gray than that, which I think is one of the benefits of this series as a whole, is like, it has two opposing sides, but it also highlights parts where they are very either simpatico or like not that far apart, or some of them are, some of them aren't.
I mean, with this one, you don't even really deal with the Templars at all. Other than the package, you're not fighting Templars, you're just fighting slavers.
It's kind of that thing of like the whole joke of the Minions movies of like, where were the Minions in World War II? Oh, they were frozen. It's kind of the thing of like,
question.
where were the Assassins? Where were the Templars during this and this and that? And you kind of get answers here and there if you look at the, all the little auxiliary things throughout the games. But like, they have a general stance of either directly aiding people in these historical conflicts or like trying to stay out of it or work in the background.
Yeah.
I'm also glad that this game didn't have a wanted list of any sort, because I murdered so many people, so it was nice I didn't have to go and bribe anybody.
Well, see, that's the problem. You can, they will swarm you in this game so fast.
Yeah,
They sort of just...
All it takes is one of those jailers to see you, and you got a crowd of 7 people on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't just me either. Yeah, because I felt like a lot of times I was overwhelmed.
Yeah, I'm just...
That's when the counter button's your best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, I usually just counter hit, sometimes parry, but...
My issue is they would shoot me, and I wouldn't get the human, grab a human target type thing, so I'd get hit.
Yeah, there's
Gun.
way too many guns in this game.
Also, you're fighting the French, right, in this?
Yeah, the French are...
Frenchish.
Okay, and this actually, your final boss, de Fayette, he is of the French Navy and governor, the Marquis de Fayette. No
I'm
relation.
assuming
to
he's
the
a real
Marquis de
person,
Sade.
too.
Oh, yeah, he's a real person.
Assassin's Creed likes to, do that, bring the real people in.
Yeah.
And it says here, I'm looking at the Assassin's Creed wiki, he is the first major antagonist in the series who is unaffiliated with either the Templars or the Assassins. So yes, you are dealing with someone else.
It was kind of a nice change. I mean, I do like the Templar stuff, but it worked.
I don't know if I'd call him a major antagonist, though.
I wouldn't.
The antagonist, but
Well, he's the last one you have to kill, so yeah, it's the big boss.
yeah, kinda.
So I have a question I shouldn't have bother jumping around anyway. But in that last fight, like I didn't have to go in the plantation. I went to the door. They saw me. He ran right to me. I just assassinated him, and that was it. I'm assuming that's not what he was supposed to do. He literally ran out the door to me, and I just went, "Oh, okay," and I just killed him. I'm like, that was simple.
I mean, sometimes it could be like that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that because like the way that that it's set up, you can't get inside the plantation very well. You have guards right at the door. You can't climb over the walls, so you can't really sneak up on him. So I'm assuming that the idea is that he would stay in there, and you have to kill everybody to get to him, not him run directly to me outside the wall so I can just stab him. It was a weird.
Climbed over the wall easy.
Oh,
Is this the one where you can go up to like the second floor, the balcony or whatever?
There is a
think so.
second floor there.
Yeah.
oh, so you did it the right way, not how I just went through the gate and he just mine worked, but I didn't think it was supposed to.
I put everybody to sleep around him. Those sleep darts were my best friend on this one.
Yeah, they're useful. I used them a little bit on one of the missions.
They're fun for taking care of some of either the Punishers or the that and the Berserk. Well, the Berserk darts are a little bit riskier because you run the risk of them killing the people you're trying to rescue. But I found those Berserk darts were fun when it was at the auction, watching everybody scatter.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even try that.
there's like a trophy or something for like aggroing a bunch of them. I feel like.
Oh, that's cool. That was one thing that upset me. I was not playing from the Ubisoft store. There's no achievements or anything. It doesn't. You get Ubisoft, whatever the hell they are, but who gives a shit about those? I'm like, oh, okay. You play points.
Yeah, and I like that you're helping them get an army together to help rescue the other slaves.
It's a good story. Like it's a good part. You know what they're having you do, and we highlight. We need to remember because even the history buff, I kind of forgot some of this stuff. Like I forgot how terrible they were.
And that's what is great about video games is that they can explore kind of these points in history and kind of illustrate them in a way that just reading text or watching a movie or something can't do.
Yeah. This was actually one of the more, sailing-wise, yeah, it doesn't really rely much on the sailing unless a mission is specific for it, which is, yeah, that's a nice little twist. Well, that's a nice take after all some of the exploring we have to do in some of these other games.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to have a short experience, too. Oh, I also forgot about the mortars. I forgot how to do the mortars, too, at first. It took a bit to remember.
That's why it is sometimes nice to just play right away, because you have all that experience. But like I said, they can't always depend on that. Sometimes they do. Sometimes, they give you a second to get your bearing.
Yeah.
It depends on how nice they're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't that nice in this game. It wasn't too challenging. The hardest thing with the plantation that I didn't need to go for, that I was messing with at one point, that was the only thing that was really like where I died a lot. I mean, I would die, but usually it was because I was just being stupid. So it didn't bother me. The ship battles weren't too bad. Did die a couple on them. Well, I went after, there was one, I was trying to go to a port. I think it might have been, maybe this was a story mission. There was a really big ass ship right in there. It was like level 60 that it, like, you could tell I wasn't supposed to mess with it, but I wanted to get rid of it and I used up all my health, but I took it down.
That is a nice thing.
Wars. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was supposed to do that, or I'm assuming? I didn't see a way around it.
I had that problem too. I think it was outside one of the plantations that you have to liberate to unlock a story mission. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I know it wasn't optional, but I beat it by just using the fact that it was so big and I was smaller that I was able to get around it and shoot it in the back before it could turn and shoot me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
how
way
I
to
beat
do
it.
it with some of them.
I mean, you have a little ship and you're maneuverable, and the other ships aren't. But it was just the only case where I'm like, okay, this is a bit much.
I think that might be the one called the mission might have been the calm before the storm.
Might have been, but I just know that was the one where I found out about how to use the mortars again, because you needed to use mortars because you need to hit that thing as much as you possibly could before it took you out.
I feel like I had more problem doing 4 capturing some of those forts personally.
I avoided some of those forts, but yes.
Because like when you were capturing the forts, you had the fort attacking you, and then you sometimes had like a fleet of ships coming up after you.
Yeah.
So you hit on multiple sides.
See, I think that's one of the points that was nice about it. This one, but of course, because it makes it for a smaller game, and you got pretty much everything unlocked, unless you have to go right to an island to unlock to see everything. So it pretty much is a nice compact little thing in that case. Let's see. Oh, there was a Fort Matthias.
Yeah, but that was a bombed out husk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have no forts, and that's fine, because this thing is really just focused on the slavery aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, they even make a comment when he goes to meet Genevieve, and she has him put on, like, slave clothes, and he's like, what do you want me to do, be a slave again? She's like, you want to, not be noticed.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting point in the story, too, just kind of like, how much control she had over Adewale during some of that stuff, and also just the kind of inevitable thing of like, I guess we're dressing up as a slave for this.
Well, let's face it, we had to do it in Liberation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the time, both historically and for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they were more side games like this.
Yeah.
Like, this was the hot spot of, like, they figured out kind of how to tell these smaller stories for a minute.
Yeah. And it really does capture the feel of the time, I would say. I mean,
100%.
you want to smack some people, and like every time,
Mhm.
and it also gets tiring because like fast travel. Hey, I'm gonna go to this spot. Oh, hey, look at that! You jump out off your viewpoint, and oh, hey, there's some prisoners being punished right there, and
Everywhere.
it's like.
I can see how Ken rescued 700 slaves in this game. Like,
Yeah.
there's just so many opportunities to do it. I got to 400 something where I just said, okay, I'm done. Don't care about, 300 something. I never got the hand cannon. I just didn't care enough to finish it up.
You don't need that hand cannon. There's a better one.
Oh.
Explore the islands. You will find a better machete. You'll find a better blunderbuss. You find upgrades for all of your bags.
They all have secrets on the island. You'll find like dead soldiers that have stuff and things. I found a couple. I didn't really explore a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, I explored everything and pretty much had everything, all those extra goodies before I really got into the story mode.
I made sure to explore the islands, but I didn't necessarily do everything. Like, I freed all the plantations for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's something nice about just kind of having like, okay, just kill like 30 slavers. Just go.
Yeah, that wasn't
Do
bad.
it before they kill all the slaves.
And then when they get alerted by you, then they start killing people.
There were some really nice sneaking parts, I thought. I think it's the first one. I just remember kind of like, oh, there's like a guy standing guard at a watch house. And it's like, oh, I can go like around the back and get through the bushes and sneak up on him because he's in front of a well, get into the well, and then pull him down. And it's like, I guess I've been just playing so many of these at this point that I kind of can like see all this stuff much easier than I used to.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. Ever since playing this game and after playing 3, and I go around, if I go on a ride or we go with my parents on a ride, I'm looking at these houses like, okay, I can see how you could climb up there, run from pop, roof to roof. I'm seeing that. It's one of those things. You get used to it when playing these games.
Oh, yeah. And then when you get to stuff like Syndicate and whatever, where it's all these close together buildings, it's definitely a trip.
Yeah, it starts making a lot more sense. And it's more fun to get around as you get to different games, too.
I'm ready to get away from the boats. I'm really tired of boats.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
I know I got one more.
Philistine.
I like boats. I like sailing, it turns out. I did not think I did, but here we are.
He's either just done too much sailing lately.
I think for me, this one, the sailing was a little bit more tedious, but that's because Adewale's crew is not singing sea shanties.
It's too serious for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, you want that. It helps with the sailing part instead of it being tedious. It just goes a little bit faster in your mind.
I did miss the sea shanties. I remember I was sailing. I'm like, oh, this is missing, but you guys are right. I mean, it is a much more serious tone. So,
I mean, the white people will sing the sea shanties, and everyone on the Wally ship was like, no, this is serious work. Let's pay attention.
I almost put on sea shanties on YouTube while I was saying I could have it, but instead I just muted the game and watched YouTube. I think in the background.
Actually, when you think about it, they probably wouldn't sing the sea shanties that the white sailors would sing.
Oh, yeah.
They'd probably sing something more that is akin to where they come from.
Sure.
And, well, who knows? Maybe somebody would see that as being racist or something, which is why they probably didn't put something in there like that.
I mean, it's definitely a sharper cliff to tread, if that's the right way to phrase it. You have a lot less room to work with.
Yeah.
It's like driving down a one-way road for about 2 miles and a one-lane road for about 2 miles and hoping nobody's coming the other way.
More or less.
Yeah, we can go with that. That works for metaphor. I mean, overall, it's a fun experience. I mean, I was surprised that my timer said 10 hours, but there was a lot of time where I put down the controller because I was busy while playing this.
Yeah.
Not
I
actually
was
playing
surprised how much more violent the kills were.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you do those counter kills where you, like, hit the, attack button, and then you go through an animation. I don't know if it was just because there was a machete involved, but they seemed a lot more violent than they were in Black Flag.
Yeah, they do. Probably because of machete. I mean, a machete is a more vicious weapon since it's more of a tool than a weapon.
That and they're fighting people who generally think they're nothing more than animals.
I mean, you hear the governor near the end when you kill him, and he's like, well, they're animals. They're not people. Like, they need us. I mean, that was the general, thinking of people like that, of the plantation owners and things. I mean, that's how they thought.
The worst.
Yeah.
I mean, but I any time in history when you have things like this happen, that is the mindset of the people that are doing it, because I think you have to have that mindset in order to commit these atrocities.
Either you have it, or as sometimes these games also prove, some people are just in for the profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all kind of bleeds the same as long as they do what they're supposed to do.
But it always feels good to kill slavers in games.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm just saying that the motive doesn't matter whether they fully believe it or not. If they're still doing the atrocity, they're still doing it.
This whole thing is reminding me a little bit of a quote I saw recently. I'm trying to find it. It's established to a writer. Let's see if I can find it.
But it was nice to have French as the villain because I feel like in Black Flag it was the English and the Spanish who were fighting mostly.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, here it is. Evil begins when you begin to treat people as things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is fair.
And that is from Terry Pratchett.
Hey, the same guy with the quote of when he explains economics that a poor man will buy a pair of boots that will only last him one season, but a man with money can buy a pair of boots that will last him his life.
Yeah.
I know I paraphrase it a bit, but I do like that quote.
I do like that quote too.
Also not wrong.
Pratchett had many humorous quotes that he also put in a good deal of his books.
I think I read his first book only. I don't know why. I never read more of that series, but I liked it. I liked what I read.
World books?
I can't even remember what it was.
Do you remember the title?
No. All I remember is had a dominatrix at some point in the book torturing a guy. So, and that's the part I remember. So.
Or no, I think I know what you're thinking. Wasn't necessarily a dominatrix in that.
No, I know it's not, but that was my.
But that if the scene is remembering, the scene is coming to mind, I think you are talking about The Color of Magic, which was the first Discworld book.
This was over 10 years ago, or more than that, so it's been a bit. And that's something I used to read a lot.
It does seem very interesting to read.
Oh, the Discworld series are great. Great set of books.
Is there anything else in this game that we should mention? There's not a whole lot to this game. You just have the 9 missions where you eventually help the slaves revolt, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you basically kickstart the Haitian slave revolt.
Oh, that's what's happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
And isn't that okay? I do love how Assassin's Creed mixed in real life.
This, like I said before, this is the highlight of the series in terms of like this era, kind of like showing these different parts of history and why they're interesting and worth covering. And I wish that the series was back doing this stuff more. I mean, I've not played the modern one, so I can't fully say that they don't, but it felt like that this was like a very special part of like 3, Liberation, Freedom Cry, 4, Rogue, Unity even.
Yeah.
Like once they got away from Ezio, it was like, oh, we can tell more stories about the world itself.
5 is when this game takes place.
Right, in the Haitian Revolution, 1791.
Yeah, so it took a while before they finally got rid of the French.
Well, I mean, they had to gather up a lot of people.
Yeah, they had to really get more and more of their people together. It's not an easy thing to get an army together when most of your possible soldiers are already enslaved and basically being forced to kill themselves by working
to death.
23 hours days.
Yeah, I mean, revolution and liberation are not easy things. It's easy when you're a child to ask, why weren't people doing stuff during this time? Why do they let these bad things happen? Because actually doing something about it is really, really tough.
Yeah. But this is helping get things underway. I mean, first thing you want to do is you want to get your forces together. And when people just say, look, that man there walking, he's obviously we need to get him back into his chains. Doesn't
Maybe
matter
that's
that
what
they might.
the jailers want to do to you. That's why they always get alerted when you walk by.
Oh yeah.
If you don't stab them in the back and head like I did every single time. But
Fair.
And they could be nasty little buggers, couldn't they?
I just like Assassin's Creed. I'm a little Assassin's Creed out at times, but I'm still enjoying it. I can tell I'm a little bit.
You're burning yourself out a lot of the big franchises there, aren't you?
Certain ones. I mean, I'm still gonna do a couple more Assassin's Creed this year. If I stick to what I wrote, we'll get through Rogue, Unity, and Syndicate. We'll wrap up the main, and then we'll get to the big monster games.
Oh,
Down the line.
Yeah.
that's a lot for a year, man.
I mean, Rogue is in March.
I've already got Rogue down.
So.
I mean, that's a relatively shorter game overall.
Yeah, Rogue is a little shorter, but Unity and Syndicate are not small games.
No, they're not. But I mean,
I blow through Assassin's Creed games usually pretty quickly, actually. Like, I get into a flow, and I just enjoy it and don't have an issue.
The Assassin's Creed flow is truly unparalleled.
This didn't have it for me. Like, there was just something missing with this one, because it's just DLC, and it was missing some of the charm, but it was still fun. It was still good. I'm glad I finally played it.
Like, there's that whole thing where they're supposedly remaking Black Flag for some reason. It's like, remake this. Make this its own thing.
They already made Black Flag. It's called Skull and Bones, and it lost them tons of money.
If they made, like, the Aveline game, Liberation, and this into its own kind of, like, game or something, that would be way more interesting than it's Black Flag again.
Yeah, but
like,
you sell
how
more
would they
when
even
you
do that. But they have
won't.
to get rid of. I mean, that's like the big rumor right now.
And part of it, what it is that these whole game, the Rogue, Liberation, Black Flag, we're sort of focusing. Well, let's see what.
Well, these two focus a lot on slavery, but they all kind of take place around the same time in the early 1700s with North America.
And 3 was the same way, focusing on Native Americans.
Yeah.
But we're also focusing on Abstergo entertainment.
Yes.
Except there isn't any in this.
No.
No, but what I'm saying is that you are more focused on, you're seeing these games being made by Abstergo with the Templar take on things of how it was supposed to be. So maybe they might want to avoid that to avoid the dumber people out there in the world from thinking, oh wait, this is actually true.
I mean, to remake Black Flag to remake Black Flag, you have to really get rid of the Abstergo stuff at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, I was a little bummed that there was no Abstergo stuff in here, that it was missing out on that.
It was still a nice change of pace, though.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just DLC, but I really like the modern day stuff, which I know is going to start to go away. So.
Well, no, and I think from what I saw, there is still a modern day take on the Assassin's Creed games.
It goes away for a little bit at some point in the series, I've heard.
It's not the exact same thing that, it has been. Like, you're not Desmond, you're not,
Yeah, not the same.
You're not sitting somewhere in Abstergo hanging out.
Yeah, you're not Noob or whatever.
Let's see. From what I see here, present-day character is in Assassin's Creed games up until Mirage.
Which is the last one that we've gotten, because the
Shadows haven't come out yet.
Yeah, at the time of this recording, it still hasn't come out yet, and this will be out. Yeah, this will be out before the game got pushed back.
Yeah, it's pushed back to March now, which is not that
Domino's made fun of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we have
Domino's.
Assassin's Creed through Assassin's Creed 3, we had Desmond Miles. Black Flag, we had the noob of Abstergo researcher. Rogue, we have Numbskull, Helix researcher. Unity and Syndicate, we're going to have another player, Helix player. Origins and Odyssey, we will have someone named Layla. Valhalla, we will have Layla and someone else named Basim. Or actually, well, that's odd. The same name is used for.
You're spoiling yourself there. Be careful.
Yeah, I was not reading. I haven't read anything about the games later on because I've mostly somehow stayed unaware, so I just keep it that way when I'm able to do that.
I mean, I know the twist here, so you should stop.
Okay, I will stop there. But
any other things you guys want to say about Freedom Cry?
I mean, because this is the opportunity, it is worth mentioning that, depending on how Shadows does, Ubisoft may very well change before there's another Assassin's Creed. So, like, if they cease to exist, if they become another company, if they downscale, Shadows may be the last big one for a while. Who knows?
Yeah.
Would be nice to have a more of a break.
It's interesting, we had this whole era of like these action games, and they went into like the RPG route, and they tried to kind of go back. But these stories, this game series also kind of follows the path that Ubisoft went on for the last almost 20 years.
And now this sounds like they're, unfortunately,
this era was like their peak because Watch Dogs was a huge deal, Far Cry was getting super huge, Assassin's Creed was big, obviously.
Yeah, I think they're trying to go more of the games as a service now, and that's not working out so well.
It's not working out for a lot of people because you can't just expect those to do well. Yes, you'll make a ton of money if it hits, but when you make 5 of them and none of them hit or one of them hits, you lose a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, it's just everyone trying to get a hold of the Fortnite pie, and it doesn't work that way, and people are stupid in these high-up positions. So,
Rainbow Six Siege did really well for a long time. I think it still has a player base, but
Rainbow Six Siege 1 and 2 did. There's 2, right?
Yeah. Or Siege, I think, had a follow-up. It's not 2, but
but that did good for them. But again, it's just companies are dumb.
Right.
There are so many games out there that fit a bill, and then people try to replicate them, but they can't do it as well as others. Right now, I think one of the stronger asymmetrical games is Dead by Daylight. Others are trying to do the same thing, but they can't get it right.
I think that the whole thing has always been, if you come at this game making, whether it's story, whether it's chasing a certain genre, and you do it organically and you do it in a way that feels right, people will be drawn to it.
Yeah.
But if you kind of call your shot, or you kind of just nakedly chase the trend, or do it it just doesn't work. How many game series have there been where they've said, oh, this is part of a trilogy, this is part of a huge ongoing story, and then the game fizzles out after 1, 2, 3, if you're lucky, entries, right? And Assassin's Creed and Kingdom Hearts, they go to distance, but they never said, oh, this is meant to be a 12-part saga. Similarly, Helldivers 2 did really well, but no one was expecting that to be a game, live service game, right? But it kind of ended up having the success of one. Meanwhile, fucking Concord got ripped down within 2 weeks.
All right, should we go? Oh.
No, but everything boils down. Certain games, when they try something new, they don't work as well. A perfect example, Legend of Zelda. They tried. Well, Zelda's been a basic open world, but nothing to the extreme that it turned into with Breath of the Wild, and people loved that.
Yeah.
But when they tried Legend of Zelda, you got your top-down open world, and then you had Link's Awakening, and all the fighting's on the side screen and all that, and it was more role-play element. Well,
that's Zelda 2. But,
yeah, Zelda 2, Adventure of Link.
Yes.
Didn't do as well. It's still one of those Zeldas I will never finish. Maybe I should try and play it again one day. I don't know. Maybe I will.
You should on Switch with Rewind. It's not bad, but only with Rewind.
Or with save states.
You still want Rewind.
But yeah, with Zelda, those games evolve sometimes because I think the fans kind of outcry about wanting change, but I think the developers themselves are we need to change this up. We can't keep having the same game.
Yeah.
And you can see, game by game, how they do those changes, like A Link Between Worlds to Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom and all that. There's a lineage there going away from Skyward Sword. But, that's when they're not trying to chase the trend. They're just doing it for the sake of the series and doing something new. And that's, I think, much more organic and much more interesting than, let's do Zelda, but it's Fortnite.
That sounds like Hyrule Warriors then.
That's Zelda, but Dynasty Warriors, but Tecmo Koei made that.
All right, I think we run out of things to say.
Sorry, I wanted my soapbox there for a second. But.
So let's go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Ken, why don't you lead us in?
I think I'm going to put this one on the stack. This is my second time playing through it. I don't know if it's really one I got to go back to, but I like knowing that it's available to me if I do want to play it. It's perfectly reasonable. I think if you like Black Flag, you should absolutely play this. It is one of the most emotionally affecting stories, and it's a solid DLC, and it's good as standalone too. It's pretty cheap. Grab it.
Yeah. And Richard.
Oh, I think I can totally agree with Ken on this one, and I'm going to put it on the stack as well. Like he said, it's a good standalone game. I mean, it's got a very good story to it. Fact that I've looked it up, that our final adversary is neither Templar nor Assassin. I think that makes this story even a little better. But I mean, with some points, I mean, if you're going to do a fast travel, the last thing you want to see pop up is, oh, here's somebody to rescue, this. So you don't necessarily, that can be a downside, because if it's always popping up, it can get tedious.
Yeah.
Or if you even walk away for a little bit and then come back, oh, hey, they're back again.
Yeah, it was a little too much.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely a stack.
Okay. And Dominic.
I mean, as part of Assassin's Creed 4 being 3 or 4 being my favorites by far, it goes on the stack by a natural association. If it's on its own, maybe I totally fucked that up. Let me say that again, please. As part of Assassin's Creed 4, with 3 and 4 being my favorite of the series, it definitely goes on the shelf. But by itself, probably on the stack, because it's an interesting story, it's interesting gameplay, but it doesn't stand out like 4 and 3 do to me. But as part of that kind of DLC aspect of it kind of gets there anyway by association.
Okay. I'll go last. This is an easy stack for me. Just like what you guys have all said. It's just kind of, it's there. I had my fun at times, but yeah, it's nothing too, I'm glad I played it. But yeah, just a stack for me. All right. Hey, I think it's been a little bit since we had a 4-person stack for this or something. So
I'm half shelf, half stack, you know.
varies on the product for me. So, but I didn't hate it, so it's a stack. All right, the next Assassin's Creed thing you will hear from us will be Rogue coming up here the time that you hear this. So
yes, sometime eventually.
March. This will be in February. March is Rogue, and then a little bit until Unity. I think Unity, I don't remember. I just wrote it down, but I don't remember. All right, and Ken, do you have anything to plug yet?
Nope. Just keep listening to games to my mom found.
Okay.
We all like hanging out here. We give you good content.
Oh, yeah, we got me and you got already. We got a few things coming up, and one involves a guy in a yellow trench coat.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Gonna win a poll, I'm pretty sure. So,
Or
already
the
have one
NES
poll.
game. That's a wild choice.
Oh, I love that game. Don't even get me started on it. Love it so much.
All right, and Dominic, where can people find you at?
I am on the This and Ways podcast on YouTube. I'm also on the Overblood Facebook group, as you know, if you care about that anymore. But beyond that, I'm around online. I'll make new profiles somewhere eventually, I'm sure.
And Richard.
You always can find me at my videos going up on YouTube. They premiere every day at 3 p.m. in a 2-week cycle there, and I have stuff premiering weekly at 10 a.m. on certain days. And of course, you can always find some of my written stuff over on sites like fanfiction.net, Archive of Our Own, Comic Vine. I have stuff all over the place sometimes.
I get that. All right. If you enjoyed this episode, there's over 700 other episodes of this podcast. You want to hear all our Assassin's Creed content, it will be in the show notes of this episode. So have to go check out everything we've done for Assassin's Creed so far. We've done a lot. We still have a lot more to come, but we've done a few things. So have to go check that out. And if you want to support the show, we do a Patreon. Little Dog vote in our Patreon poll. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. Currently 2. If you're hearing this in February, there'll be 2 again. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Hatsphere. You can follow her on, I was going to say TikTok, but at the time that we're recording this, TikTok goes away tomorrow. So you can follow her on Instagram and I think Red Note, whatever that is, if that's still a thing.
It's a Chinese social media app.
Isn't that what TikTok is too?
But like it's legit like a Chinese social media app. Like it's known more by its Chinese name, which I don't remember right now, than Red Note.
Oh, okay. I guess she's on it though. I know that much. I saw one of her posts. So yeah. And want to give a shout out to Bill Tucker, the Gamer Looks for you to go check out his podcast. And please join our Discord if you want to chat with us. You want to make comments, be on the show, anything. Just join, please. So we'll see link to that. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, and rate and reviews wherever you get your podcast. It's everything at time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So long.